And here we have the humble pinto bean. This is 1 pound of dried pinto beans and it cost me 99 cents at Target. Now you can get them for cheaper if you buy them in bulk and perhaps from a different store, but this is what a lot of people have access to and it's really easy and small. Smaller quantities are easier to carry home and to store, so I just got 1 pound of it for 99 cents. Now I'm going to show you really quickly first why this is a much better value than canned pinto beans. There are 13 servings per container here, and each serving is 80 calories for 1 pound of dried pinto beans. Now, compare quickly to a can of pinto beans. This has 3.5 servings, and each serving is 90 calories. So if you compare the total calories of these dried pinto beans to canned pinto beans, each of those is a pound of pinto beans, but the dried pound of pinto beans will give you over 1,000 calories, whereas the canned pinto beans, the pound of canned pinto beans, will only give you about 300 calories. So effectively, canned pinto beans are 3 times more expensive than dried pinto beans. So this is a really, really good value. And if you want to save money on your protein in general or on your beans, then dried is the way to go. So if you've never worked with dried beans before, that may be a little intimidating to you, but it's really easy. It just requires a couple extra steps, and it's only about 2 minutes of active cooking time. So all you need is a nice big bowl. And of course, another nice thing about dried is if I did not want to use all of my dried pinto beans at once, I wouldn't have to process all of them at once. They last forever, basically, in your pantry or on your bookshelf or in your car or anywhere. So all I'm going to do to this is cover it with water. And you're going to want to soak these overnight before you use them. So that's the thing about cooking with dried pinto beans. It does take a little planning. Like I write in my calendar, soak beans Monday, cook beans Tuesday. So it does take a little planning ahead, but once you get used to it, once it becomes a habit, it's really not a big deal. All right, so the next day after your beans have soaked, you put them in a big pot with some water, and then you turn the heat up to high, because you need to bring these to a boil first. And after they are boiling, I like to add some salt and turn down the heat. And you really want to cover these beans so that the water doesn't escape and the heat doesn't escape, but I don't have a lid that fits, so I use a frying pan. Use whatever you have, it's all good. And then about an hour and a half later, check them after an hour. They might be done, and the best way to check for doneness is to just take out a bean and then press it. And if it presses nicely, kind of like a cooked potato, then it's done. Pop it in your mouth and eat it, just to be sure. And then to store your beans, just get a giant container. You can use old recycled yogurt containers too. I do that sometimes, but this is a huge batch of beans, so I'm using a huge Tupperware. And that's it. I like to reserve some of the cooking liquid because that can help with some recipes. You don't have to reserve as much cooking liquid as I reserved, but I did just for good measure. And that's it. There you have it, your cooked beans.